If you're already here, I'm setting up and it's supposed to be unlisted. I gotta pee. Actually, I think we're good. Oh, good. That worked. Okay, that's what I'm gonna wanna change. That part's working perfectly. What about okay, we're good. Thank you. See if that part's working perfectly as well. Okay, testing again. All right. Thank you. Saying there's an error on YouTube. Yeah, I'm gonna check it on my personal account. And my personal account saying no. So StreamYard. Here it is. I found the problem. Yeah. Thank you. Yep, there it is. According to this, I'm live. So if you're out there, you're out there, and if you're not, I'll cry myself to sleep tomorrow. It is questions and answers, so I need questions. I'm going to address a couple of questions, anyways. And I don't even have. Let me go check something. I know I've had all kinds of hate mail over the years. Let's see what some of it was, huh? See, this is Boomer, all right? Okay, well, So I got a good one. Um, if you don't respect people, they're going to kill you. All right. Y'all know what this is about. So let's not dig into it too much. But if you don't respect people, they will kill you. I'm just saying. Still waiting for people to come in. I'm also checking to see if there's a lag issue. Okay, here we go. I remove those because kind of short notice happens. Two of the people I was really hoping would be here can't be. So definitely those aren't going to happen. Check to see. I can't believe I forgot to send it to him directly. We're at 13 minutes. We're at 4 official minutes, but oh well, whatever. Okay. Well, let's just see what happens. Apparently, I need to be told that. Oh, hello, Beijing. I actually did not think you were going to make it. I thought you were shining me on. OT, how's the weather? By the weather, I mean those obnoxious neighbors of yours that I love so much. It's general Q&A, guys, so ask questions. Even the obnoxious ones, except about the bathtub. What's up? OT, I'm doing great, actually. Um, I'm still off work for a little bit. That's been going on for a month. I got me too, sort of. I got accused of raising. Well, Beijing, ask a question. Any question? Uh, Question that's been hanging around with me a little bit. Uh, Revisions to Dataslaw related to um, violent political protesters. I know that if you read it one way, it'll say this group is included, even though I really didn't mean them. And I do mean our gun rallies. People say, oh, they have guns, they're being violent. So, how do I write it so that just because you had a weapon on you doesn't necessarily make it violent? You had it. That's all. Anybody's got advice on that? I'm listening. I also got a minor announcement. When I hit 250 subscribers on the channel, I'm thinking about doing a giveaway. It's going to be that stock that I just got for my gun. I took that off because it just wasn't right for me. Put the old one back on because actually that one was right for me. I'm thinking about just giving it away. It's the stock and the uh, sling swivel for that can be reversed left or right. And I am not ignoring you guys. Okay, I'm going to close this window because it's creating a distraction. There we go. Hey, Beijing, how is how's the blonde doing? Had the baby yet, or what? That's really where I'm going with that. I hope so. She's got 9 kids already, but whatever. What do you think about? Okay, Otis asks, let me start. Hi, troll. I'll get you in a second. Let me start. What do you think about the California fires? It keeps warming up whenever the elections come. No, no, that's not true. I'm sorry, that's not true. This is just a seasonal thing. It's gone on since I was probably born. Um, Actually, I had to go flying from Colorado to California back in 2017 because my father had a photograph of the car fire from his back porch. Um, it is being exploited for political gain, but this is a seasonal thing. Okay, great sky troll anti-drama. Like 5 minutes in this movie. Well, so was I. Jocker777. This is not a name I know. How would an authoritarian law forcing people to carry weapons, I know who this is, over threat of official punishment be morally justified because the alternative is also morally unjustifiable? You're forcing people to not be armed, or you're forcing people to be armed and be able to defend themselves. By the way, I know you didn't read Dataslav. You skimmed it, but I know you didn't read it. So don't give me some shit. Oh, man, I'm not banning you. Ha! MCNN Beijing. Honestly, don't remember what's going on with Matt Blonde. I got alienated with the. Oh, yes. I'm aware vaguely um, what's going on with that situation. And it's unfortunate if some baby got thrown out with bathwater. Um, he, I thought he was an honest idiot, and I guess we found, or you guys found out what he really is. I'm sorry. That's a fucked up situation all the way around. Uh, great Scott. Great Sky Troll anti-drama says Cali burns yearly. Yeah. Um, 87 or 88, I believe it was. Down the road from my parents' place was a really big fire. Cal Fire actually had to go in and scoop up water from a catfish farm to try to put this fire down. We called it the Great Catfish Fry. And if uh, well, YouTube or the internet in general had existed for me back then, I probably would have live streamed it. Beijing says, I think she may have had it. Great. Good for her. Good for her. I wish I'd said that to her face when Rag, well, he invited me to a live stream and didn't tell anybody else who all was going to be there. Didn't tell anybody who all was going to be there, except maybe Lauren. He might have told her. Oh, Shocker. Come on. Let's see. Hey. Come on, George. Count the letters. You're the only one that says that, by the way. That's how I know. But I'm going to double down on that. Okay, so Jocker earlier asked, how is a law that requires people to carry guns, and in the past he said high-powered guns. I never said that. I mean, a 22 single shot would, I guess, technically meet the standard. I wouldn't try carrying that argument into court, but you're welcome to try. But anyway, come back to that in a second. How would that be morally justifiable? Okay. Are you required to have a fire extinguisher in your home? Everybody keeps telling me there's states that don't require it. I've never found this. I'm just saying. Are you required to have brakes on your car? Yes. Okay. Docker is swearing up one side and down the other. He's somebody else. How do I put this without being rude? I don't. Myth, you once said something about me that was very, very unkind and untrue. I have always accepted it with a grain of assumption that you said it because you thought it was true. So that's not a lie. You thought it was the truth, and that's okay. The other one, George, let you say it knowing it was not true, and that was a lie. He should have said something to you right then and there because he knew about the blue vest before anybody other than me. I only knew about it first because it was my idea. George knew about it at least 2 weeks before. Well, 2 weeks before anybody else heard anything about it. I know you were one of the first ones I invited to the Players Club. He knew about it 2 weeks at that point. Okay, Great Sky Troll Anti-Drama says, I'm of the opinion ID should be on a pistol and every citizen should carry ID. That's not bad. That's not bad. Pragmatically speaking, no, because you have to show your ID to officers when demanded. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you can rattle off the serial number for your weapon off the top of your head, and they can run that serial number, and because Cops do know the IDs that they're running. This picture looks like that guy. Okay, it's probably him. And yes, you could have a twin brother or a Takayo who can rattle off your serial number because they went out of their way to find out. Yeah, okay, it's a cheat. That's a cheat you'd get away with. I wouldn't recommend it, Tim. I really wouldn't. By the way, there is a big fat exception for carrying under Dataslav when you've been drinking or you expect to be drinking. Great Sky Troll Anti-Drama asks, if they ask, who will ask? Well, I'm not sure I understand the question. Could you please rephrase? Um, but I mean, the story from my own little life. I was walking down a downtown part of a major metropolitan area in the bar district, and I had my gun on me. Across the street, there's, I think, two police cars, and the third one was on our side of the street. On my side of the street was three cops, so it's not hard to figure out they're associated with these cars. I walked right past them, got like 3-4 paces, got a wild hair up my ass, literally to the rear marched, came back, and I said to him, I got a question for y'all. Why are your cars across the street, but you're over here? And they gave me some answer. I didn't pay any attention. I didn't care about the answer. What I really cared about was, were they going to call me out on my gun? Because it was just kind of sort of visible. And maybe they understood he's got a gun, but he's not reaching for it. Or maybe they just didn't recognize it for what it was. That's a possibility. Either way, they gave me an answer. I was happy enough. I continued on my merry way. OT asks, do you think the Russians will interfere with the elections? Absolutely. Law, give me your thoughts on that. And voting by mail is a disaster. Oh my God, is a disaster. Even Tim Pool has called this out. Tim Pool, the the red-pilled leftist YouTube reporter. Yeah. He got ballots to his address for people that didn't live there. I don't remember if he said it was 2 or 3 or if it's 20, but he got them as well. And it's designed to be a disaster. It's not an accident. This is not incompetence. The idea is, if you send out enough of these dead ballots, honest people won't fill them out. Dishonest people will. And I said that out loud. I got another one for you. When I was in the service, I was stationed in Michigan in 2000 with the Bush Gore election. I got that ballot. Okay, no problem. 2004, it's Bush against whoever the fuck ran that year. I don't care. Anyway, I got that ballot 2 weeks after the election. I'm still military. I'm still vote by mail. I couldn't get it to my base. And that's what it was addressed to is my command. And I still didn't get it. And it was in state. I was like four counties away. I call them up. I say, hey, I didn't get my ballot until after the election. Oh, yes. Okay. We're working on it. And these are the solutions. Da, 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 da. Okay. Right. That's great. 4 years later, it was McCain, Barack. You notice I say McCain and Barack. That's a clue. I had already decided I was not going to vote for any Dem that year. None of them impressed me, and the one that came to the top was the one that really pissed me off first. Okay, no problem. Still didn't get my ballot until a week after the election, or maybe it was 2 weeks again. I don't remember exactly, but it was still after the election. I called them up. I said, "What happened?" They said, "Well, we had mailing problems." They gave me some excuse. Gave me the same excuse last time around. Catching what you putting down. 4 years after that, I'm out of state. I'm stationed up in Portland, Oregon. Yes. And during the Occupy era. Yes. And I didn't get my ballot at all. Gets better. 2 weeks, well, no, about a month before the election, I get called up for jury duty. Right. And they pick they pick candidates for jury duty from election rolls. Okay, no problem. I call them up. I say, I'm military out of state. I'm up in Portland. Bitch says, well, if you're not available for jury duty because it's tied to your election registration, we're going to unenroll you. Wait, I'm military out of state. We'll unenroll you. It's 2 weeks to the election. We're unenrolling you, and hung up the phone on me. Now, I'm not going to throw the county under the bus on YouTube. I threw them under the bus on Facebook to their face, and they still haven't gotten back to me. So, yeah, vote by mail is absolutely rigged game, and no question about it. There's also another video. Somebody sent that to me as a PM on Facebook. On the back of these envelopes, at least for some states, it's da 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 R da 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 D. Da 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 is tied to your address. The R and the D is tied to your party. So all somebody has to do is look at the back of it, throw it in the trash. Great Sky Troll says voting by mail is a straight up scam. If only it were just a scam. Beijing, when I voted in my state primary a few months back, I voted in person the day of, but when I was checking my voter registration status today, it showed me voting by mail during the primary. I'm going to show that. That is very, very interesting. Beijing, you know where to reach me. So after this, send me a message. I want to talk to you more about this. I'm not happy. And I just discovered apparently you can't remove somebody's comment from the stream after it's up until you replace it. So, well, I dirt. I can own it. So yeah. Do you think OT, I'm going to go back to your question. Do you think the Russians will interfere with the elections? Absolutely. How is the question? Last time around, they dumped billions of rubles into ads for Hillary. Sheryl Sandberg herself said, we are really excited about the first woman president. She said this in an email that was somehow obtained. We also know this because of the post-election hearings, congressional hearings, where that came out. That's when I heard about it, during these election hearings, where we also heard about them buying ads in rubles. Like, that's lazy. It actually makes me wonder if it wasn't people that wanted Donnie to win who were willing to pay in rubles to make Hillary look bad. And you know what? I'm not going to doubt that some of it was, but most of it wasn't, because these are private transactions that, under the normal course of events, aren't discoverable. It's just that because Facebook was being investigated, they went in and said, oh, you got paid in rubles, not in dollars that had been changed for rubles, but directly in rubles. I don't think they're going to declare a war. I don't even think they're going to start another proxy war, which, by the way, I've always kind of wondered if Somalia was not a Russian, specifically, proxy war. This civil war that touched off all the chaos was the Russians uh, starting this, thinking they were going to open up a new market for themselves, and then shit just got out of control and they lost it. Uh, Great Sky Troll. I feel like it's a variation of the Badger game. I do not know the Badger game. OT, didn't the deep state play some kind of role in that? I gotta be honest, I don't really understand what the deep state is enough to say what they did or didn't do. I do know, however, one, deep state is a theory that there are people within the government that think they are the government, that they actually run the show. And some of them kind of do run the show. For all of you that know my rant about police sergeants, police and sheriff sergeants, the mayor doesn't run the police department. Chief of police doesn't really run the police department. All the way down to those lieutenants. Now, the lieutenants do kind of control their district because they're boots on the ground supervisors, but it's really the sergeants that run the departments, and that means they have all of the power. They can reassign people, they can assign people, they can reprimand people, and they do show up to every arrest. And that's when you've got to be that absolute professional. The moment you show up at this situation and you really are the top dog around here, you're now really in control of everything, aren't you? And that's when that professionalism is necessary. And I'm going to say something. It was a former police sergeant that first said that to me. I was 19, 20 at the time, or maybe even 18 at the time. He said, sergeants run the departments, and that's why sergeants have to be the professionals. His name was Dave W., and I know he's retired now. Amongst other things, the deep state use their influence. They don't actually control anything, but they influence everything to start what the series of investigations that eventually would end up on Robert Mueller's desk with Page and Strzok and all of them playing these reindeer games about, well, we're going to investigate him, or we're going to unmask him, or we're going to look into something else. Flynn is being basically his whole case is over with a not guilty verdict because they fucked around. They fucked around and they found out. Beijing, be careful at work. Get back to me afterwards. All right. Yeah, the deep state is going to influence things as much as they can. Now, how much can they influence things? Because everybody's watching now. We all know it exists. I mean, I kind of knew that this sort of thing was going on way back in 2000. I just wasn't paying attention to it, and I admit that. 2004, I didn't pay any kind of attention to it at all, although 2008, I kind of got an inkling that something was going on because of what happened with my county clerk. Remember, if you can control the county clerk, you can control this county's election results. If you can control the 2-3 biggest counties in the state, you can swing the state one direction or another. I think what happened down in Florida in 2000 was they lost control of their county clerk somehow. Either it was just overwhelming, the results, or something happened, and that's what they're really butthurt about. Jocker, I really don't like being called that, and you know it. Uh, wish you the best. I know you think I was wrong. You're mistaken, not wrong. And ask Matt. He can tell you it happened. I still wish you well, man. Have a good one. Good luck. Have fun. Um, for those of you who are still on, about 8 months ago, I was accused of being a con artist because I was trying to put together a funding project. Um, I was actually accused of being a con artist to the guy who got the benefits of the funding project. Um, Jocker is swearing up one side and down the other. He's one of the ones that accused me of being a con artist. Jocker was mistaken, not lying, mistaken. There's a huge difference. You can make a mistake. Somebody else was lying for letting it happen. Okay, so I still got a couple of you in here. Now I'm boomering this a lot because I really don't know how StreamYard works. So I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm actually trying to look at something else. Add to watching. Cry myself to sleep tomorrow. Hell, the fact of the matter is, if I knew everybody was actively ignoring me, I'd still be doing this. Because at least I can go to St. Peter with everything else I've done in my life and say, but at least I told the truth. Um, sorry guys, I'm admit I'm kind of boomering here. Oh. Right, so ask another question, guys. Skytroll says one is the loneliest number, two can be as bad as one. Hey, you know what? As the meme goes, I know what I'm bringing to the table, so I'm not afraid to eat alone. Troll, I'm gonna ask what it is. What are you cooking? On a related note to eating alone, I swear this is not alcohol. I'm stone cold sober. I've been sober 2 days just for this. Oh, going back to an earlier point. Um, Inebriation is a conditional exemption from Datislav, and it is black letter conditional exemption. If you're drinking, if you think you're going to be drinking, if you're uh, if you know you're going to be drinking, or you whatever, you can leave your weapons at home or in your car or somewhere else where they're safe. And when the cop stops you, even if it's unrelated and haven't been drinking yet, say, hey, where's your gun? I don't got it. It's at home. Why? Because the bar's right over there and you stopped me before I got there because I watched this traffic accident. Excuse me. That actually happened to me in Sacramento. I was going to the bar. I was walking to the bar through Capitol Mall. I hear the crash and the car lying on its side and the SUV lying on its side, and the driver of the SUV laughing hysterically as she got out of the vehicle. That's the laugh of, I'm still alive. Holy shit, I'm still alive laugh. And I stopped, and the cops were there. And unfortunately for the other vehicle, the at fault vehicle, I knew who was at fault because they'd been playing musical chairs inside the car. Okay, OT, I'm sorry I missed this. Here in the Middle East, Israel and UAE are now buddies. That's a big step towards peace in the area. OT, I don't think they're buddies. I think they more agreed that they're going to stop beating each other up. Um, and take away any one thing that really creates this calm between them, and it could flare up again in an instant. Um, on the other hand, both of them have one common um, not nice neighbor. So kind of like, I'm going to stop hitting you, you stop hitting me, and we're going to go deal with this other guy down the street who's been stealing off our back porch, or been stealing our porch pirate down the street. Troll, beef stew and rice. When I was homeless, I would have killed for beef stew and rice. Something just occurred to me. How did Myth know that this was happening? Nope. On a related subject, over the course of this channel, I've only blocked two people. One was, you say something like that to somebody in a bar, and the cops, when they get there and sort of pile out, everybody's going to jail now. Um, the other was being very rude and disrespectful to somebody else in another channel, and absolutely had it coming to him. All right, he's been banned on like 6 channels now. OT says Trump is happy about that. He is, and he should be. And he should actually be proud of getting the two of them to sit down and agree to stop beating on each other. All right. That was a huge accomplishment. That has not happened since Clinton was in office. The closest to that had happened before, actually, before the Israeli-Palestinian Accord, was when the U.S. actually got Egypt to stop fighting with Israel and Israel to stop fighting with Egypt. That was not a one-way thing. That was very much mutual fighting. Huh. BBC, I know who you are. Dude, I hate rape. I have no idea where you're going with that. BBC, you're my Civil War veteran, right? OT, specifically when Iran is pissed off. Well, anything that makes Iran mad is good for the rest of the world, unless they develop a new version of coronavirus. Um, and y'all know what I say about that. So what's the point of going down that rabbit hole? Uh, Troll says, this is going in a weird direction. Yeah, yeah. let's get back on track. Um, gun questions, Datislav questions, anything along those lines. BBC says coronavirus was created by the aliens? Okay. So as much as Great Sky Troll Anti-Drama claims to be a troll, we got a real one. That's okay. But BBC, at least make them funny, right? Entertain me. If you're going to insult me, at least be entertaining. All right, moving on. Yeah, ask questions about guns, Datislav, um, other things that preferably make sense. Um, for those of you that know my little project and involving my clothing line, it went very well. There's another package headed out this week. Trolls says, I'm cooking, trolls gotta eat. You do. You gotta eat. Now there's another package going out this week. Fixed bayonets kind of pushed me about this one to get this package out. And she's right. I should have done it like last year when I. Oh, wait a minute. I could only do it as of this week because I only had an address to ship the package to this week. So that's not entirely on me. Yeah. Yeah. Be entertaining. Ask questions, guys. This is a Q&A session, not a preach to the choir session. And while you guys are doing that, trying to think of questions, I'm going to see if I can clear this off. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, since I'm not getting any questions so far, I'm going to answer one of my own questions. What are the exempt locations? Well, all airports are exempt. Check them in as you check in your baggage. You'll get a baggage check at the other end. And that means that cops can actually focus on the baggage check and check in and check out area for the would-be problem children. Schools, if they provide security, and I don't mean an armed officer, I mean actual security. The police department has come through and said, if there was a problem here, the only way we're getting in is to follow the trail of destruction. Okay. Otherwise, no. Even schools are not intrinsically exempt. Government buildings, same requirements. All government building, if the building itself is actually providing security that is adequate to prevent a shooting, they might be able to say, and oh yeah, by the way, this is an exempt location. Otherwise, not a long list, is there? Now, in case y'all haven't noticed, I got a few white hairs. All right, so I'm a little bit older than most of y'all. I remember from the 80s when there was this rash over the course of about 2 years of school abductions. Now, 90% of them were non-custodial parent, and 90% of those was non-custodial parent wants to take the kid to Bonnie Burgers, because that was the closest place when I was growing up, for lunch, and the custodial parent said, no, you're not You're not taking our daughters to Bonnie Burgers. That's actual story. And the school didn't have any idea what to do, so they let the non-custodial take them. A few of them did not turn out so well. And that's quite unfortunate. Also, a couple of true kidnappings at schools. So, but I can remember when schools were a target, not a shooting target, but an abduction target. When the Safe Schools Act was coming down in 1991, me being young and dumb and not knowing the difference, I thought this is a great thing. You know, it means there won't be any guns in schools. And oh yeah, by the way, oh yeah, by the way, is always a clue. They're saying that they will provide security at schools. Right. Well, it's been basically 30 years now, and I haven't seen it. I haven't. When I was back in Reading in 2017, I went back to my old school. It's more open now than it was back then. And back then, there was literally a section of fencing that prevented students from running out into the street because they were not paying attention or whatever. That section of fencing has, it's still there in name only. Now, maybe when I was young and going to the school and didn't understand these things, it looked great. And now that I'm older and I can see these issues, I realize how crap it was back then. But it's even more crap now. All right. It wouldn't stop a student from accidentally wandering out of school grounds. How's it going to stop somebody from deliberately walking into school grounds? Hey, Foss. Sorry. DM Foss is another YouTuber. So you guys should check him out. Foss, did you call out Ghost for One Gun Challenge? I know I watched it. I know I watched yours. I really wish I understood. So anyway, if a fence that isn't going to stop students from accidentally walking out still is there after 30 years, how's it going to stop somebody from deliberately coming in? Right now, the building itself is a little bit better. The doors are locked from the inside. So, okay, that's great. I'm still completely underwhelmed. Okay, OT, from your point of view, what are the best selection of firearms and guns? Oh, okay. I'm not going to give you the answer to that question. I'm going to give you the process I used to get to it. The process I used to get to it. First of all, it actually has to be able to hit somebody and do the kind of damage you need it to do. In this world, in this realm for pistols at least, there's really two big contenders. The 10 millimeter was the big contender. The 10 millimeters basically gone away. I think that's unfortunate. So don't yell at me. I didn't do it. But what stepped into the place was the 9 millimeter. The 10 millimeter was supposed to replace, and the 40 cal. They both have different advantages. 9 millimeter, you hit somebody, they are going to die. All right, that's it. But they're not going to die like that. They're going to get hit 2-3 times and maybe continue prosecuting their campaign. 40 cal, they're going to die eventually, just maybe not today, and they might survive. But when you hit them, they know it. They really know it. Now, 9 millimeters, there are a couple of cases of people, because they were high, they were on something, they got hit 5 times and they're still standing, and then they dropped like a bag of shit. Um, 40s just breaks everything in its way. 10 millimeter was like getting hit with a small grenade launcher. Um, and I've seen the ballistic tests. They actually had 223, which is an intermediate round. Holy shit, that 10 millimeter. There's a hole this big in the ballistic gel. I'm not even shitting you. So caliber is important. Well, what's most important is what does your local police and sheriffs mostly use? If you're using the same thing they are as caliber, you're in great shape, even if it's a different type of firearm. Um, Also, what's next on the list is what does your nation's military primarily carry? If you're Chinese, your nation's military primarily carries 7.6239. That's what you should be focusing on. Or rifles in particular, for small arms local law enforcement. The next quality is detachable magazine, box or otherwise. And third characteristic is semi-auto. And a semi-auto can become a bolt action if there's something wrong with the weapon that's causing it to not cycle properly. I had an M240 that decided it didn't want to play. Correction, the ammo didn't want to play today. That bitch ended up becoming a bolt action machine gun. I uh I laugh, but not because it's funny when I tell that story. Okay, DM Foss. I called out Midnight Range, G23, and Gun Loving Grandpa. I know GLG a little bit, mostly from, ironically enough, one of the people I want to call out who's not really gun community. That's the part of the rules I don't understand. Fingers crossed I can get away with that shit. Foss again. IEDC 40 cal, HK P30. Um, Block 22, because that's actually the model that all of my local law enforcement carries, or the Glock 17. There's the small town police department that everybody's carrying the 17, I think it is 9 millimeter version because of money. I don't understand, but that's the reason they gave. It's Sky Troll Anti-Drama says, oh, 762 by 39 and my Makarov. Uh, I've probably asked this before, but Troll, I thought you were Australian. Correct me if I'm wrong. Makarov. That's 762 762 pistol round, right? Um, Good luck finding ammo for that in a crisis. And that's the real reason you want to carry what you local law enforcement carries. Who's going to be your first supplier in the event of an actual emergency? Probably your cops. Christian Nomad, that is a name I recognize. Hello to you too. I have noticed your name. You got a question, ask it. Um, the reason you want to carry what your local law enforcement carries is they're probably going to be your first source of supply in the middle of a real crisis. Than the kind where you can't just evacuate the city. I'm just saying. I'm also the advocate for bringing back the classic militia system, which is everyone who's not physically incapable. Well, actually, everyone who's not physically incapable has to report in the middle of a crisis. Everyone, period, unless they are mentally incapable of being there and in attendance without creating a problem. Oh, excuse me. has to come to the training sessions, because even if you're crippled for life and you will never walk again, you need to know what people around you are doing and why they're doing it. Because I've been on the other side, on the rescuee side. It is really scary being bobbed around in the water for no reason. Okay? You need to understand, why did these guys just dunk me? Well, it's because by dunking you, we get the momentum to get you onto the boat. You need to know, uh, Stephen Hawking's even needs to know, why are people walking around me and cutting things, and this is very scary, and these noises are loud and I don't like it. Well, yeah, it is scary and you don't like it, and we're not just doing it because it's funny. We're not dunking you because it's funny. We're dunking you to get you on the boat. We're cutting things to get to you, that sort of thing. um People who are exempt from mandatory carry, and in this I really do mean felons and now violent political protesters, would still be required to report for militia duty in the event of an emergency. They just maybe put on other duties like KP or barricade duty or something like that, where they don't have to carry a gun. In the event of a fire, telling you how far back this idea goes, I came up with it when McCarter, the city in Canada that burned to the ground back in 2014, I think it was. That's when I came up with this idea. Everybody's evacuating the city, and that's a lot of people tying up a lot of the road who could have been up fighting fire instead. In the event of a fire, you Antifas and you BLMs and you KKKs, you might be the first on the fire line with nothing but a pick and a shovel, and good luck to you. And if you use it on each other, you're going to get shot. Fight the fire. Then you can go box or play silly little games later. Right now, the city's on fire, and you're going to go deal with that fire. Great Sky Troll says, Georgia, nah, it's 9 mil. I got so many MDS. Okay. Oh, you're in Georgia. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Because I want you to go to Atlanta someday. Oh, I am not sure what MDS is, and I think I don't want you to answer right now. You can tell me later. Alpine Gulch, that's a name I know. Agreed, we need a militia. Hello. Yes. Actually, I think Alpine Gulch is also a YouTuber. I could swear you are. Um, I had a big long proposal for bringing back the classic militia, and I'm going to admit that sometimes I can be as dirty as my worst critics are, which is as dirty as they say I am. Y'all remember, well, those of you that have been in the stream for a little bit, you remember I said that my old man had photographs of car fire from his back porch? That's the one that started next to the dam from, ironically enough, a car set a grass fire off, and it swept south and it took out one city while everybody there managed to evacuate, got into another city, killed 4 people, and burned down the chief of police's house for the city of Reading. All right, now that leaves me impressed. Well, 3 months later, there was another fire, and I happened to be in California at the time. It was the Camp Fire that so many of you have heard about. And if you don't remember that, remember that 89 people officially died because they were trapped in Paradise, California. That part you're going to remember real fast. 2 weeks after that, that fire was declared contained. Not out. I don't think it was actually out for another month or so. I actually started trying to contact sheriff's offices in Northern California to get a meeting with the sheriffs to say, this is my proposal. Hear me out before you say no. Let's bring back the classic militia system and start with volunteers to see if it'll work. Um, None of them ever called me back. DM Foss, I think he meant rounds. Okay. I'm sorry, troll. Rounds. Got so many rounds. Yeah, well, you never enough ammo. That's another channel. Alpine Gulch. No, I don't make videos. Thanks, though. Okay. Because I know I checked you out at one point. Maybe you should consider it. Don't consider it as a career, though. Believe me, this is not a moneymaker. Yeah, it deeply disappoints me that even my dad's local sheriff and the sheriff for Tehama, Butte County, and the sheriff for Tehama County, for those of you that remember that dam in California that was about to fail back in 2017 as well, he never called me back. Really, really disappointed. My sheriff never called me back, but there's a reason for that. Him and my landlord know each other from grade school. I swear to God. And they've hated each other since grade school. Christopher Nomad, I agree with you about militia. Yeah. Um, it's in the community tab somewhere, and I have a video on it. I just, hey, does any of this look like a professional studio, right? So easy to ignore that one. That sucks too. Actually, if it were up to me, and I wish Jocker was still here to see this, um, your right to vote would actually be tied to your response to militia duty. If you're in good standing with militia, you can vote. Um, and that means that people who are exempt from militia duty, militia training duty, can't vote. Well, that's really tough shit, right? If you're too stupid or too crazy to report for duty, or report for training, excuse me, Okay, let's see if this is working again. Yeah, for those of you saying it froze, you're not lying. I lost my signal. Okay, something's going right because I see myself saying getting signal enough. It should have been back on. Took them down. No, the government this time. Uh, it was living out in the sticks and forced to use satellite. Yay! Okay. DM Foss is confirming that he's getting the signal. And so it's all back up. Right, good. That's annoying. Something else I'm going to include in there. It's better to have slow dial up than have satellite. The only problem is the only landline connection I have out here is really telephone. I can sometimes get cell service. All right, so next question. Come on, guys. The militia proposal, weekend a month, you'd be required to attend for 2 6-hour periods. And it's, first of all, it is 2 sequential 6-hour periods on a Saturday and a Sunday, or Sunday and a Monday, or whatever. And you'd go through that month's training for your company, because everybody divided into 4 companies based on their fire department, really. Your fire station, like mine, is 3A, station 3. Okay, so I'm 3A battalion, 4 companies, A, B, C, D, and let's say February A company, I'm in A company, is doing first aid. Okay, during February, B company, fire suppression, C company is doing rain, and D company is actually doing Astor local, which for us is high wind event. OT, I was talking about bringing them back. So I'm answering your question. Um, you'd have to during this month, and either during assigned week, your squad week, or you could make arrangements to come in during a different week. Say, like I'm in first squad, so it's the first week. Okay, I can't show up because I'm going to be out of town that week. I have to make arrangements in advance to show up, say the fourth week for that month's training. Make that training up somehow. And as long as you're in good standing, good to go. Um, 4 blocks of training. First aid CPR. At the end of every month, you'll be getting card, first aid CPR card, or you'll be demonstrating that yes, you know what you're doing. Fire response and suppression. Going back to the Paradise example, everybody would be out on the fire line with picks and shovels, if it comes down to that, and basic turnout gear. Um, Firearms. Once monthly firearm safety and a range course, and all you would do, chamber chamber around with mag in your primary firearm, reload once, and have every round accounted for on your target. You carry 15 in one like I do. Okay, you got 31 rounds, and they're all on the target. Not all even necessarily in the silhouette, but they're all accounted for. We know where you're, and you didn't close your eyes when you were shooting. And your fourth one is locally determined crisis, like for San Francisco. They have earthquakes, they floods, earthquakes. Um, uh, New Orleans, they have hurricanes. So that's so you have flooding. You have all of the things that happen in a hurricane. You don't usually have earthquakes down there. Um, New York, you might have blizzard. The city of New York has some really bad blizzards. They might need specialized for blizzard. There you go. As long as those four up, at least once you have a good range, at least once a year you have a good CPR session, and you don't have one that's so bad that somebody says, "No, come here, we need to talk." You know, your idea of doing doing CPR is to stomp on their chest. That's not going to work. And then you still be able to vote. Okay, ask another question, guys, or I'm going to drag one of you in here. There we go. Could have done this. Should have done this earlier. Myth was still here, ironically enough. Here we go. Alpine Gulch. What's the name of this type of militia? Did the USA stop having? First of all, militia. Um, it's technically the unorganized, I believe, under 10, 10 246 and section 1. The unorganized militia, and it never having them. Most people don't realize it's still not lost. Your cop. Remember, if you follow that link, I can control who gets in. Um, yes, I believe spiders have penises. Boy spiders, anyways. Do they have 53 genders as well? No. Last person I know that's studied animal sexuality, that three-man team up in Portland. I think it was Portland. That did it to troll the journal. Okay, Alpine Gulch says, didn't hear your answer. 10 USC says, 10 USC section 246 says that there are two types of militias. The organized militia, which is the National Guard, Air National Guard, naval militia, has existed in at least 40 years, and the unorganized militia, which is literally 17 years old, and that law never ended. That is still in. Most people don't realize that that law has actually been acted upon, including the people that acted upon it. Sheriffs have the authority to activate a militia, and only the sheriffs do because of the federal law that makes them any given county's emergency services, emergency response coordinator. Not sure the term exactly, but this is the one that basically plays the sheriff of Butte County in charge during car fire, Tehama in charge of Tehama during the dam collapse. Um, Placed Shasta County Sheriff in charge of Shasta County during car fire, so on and so on, right? There's 3 sheriffs down in Louisiana. I'm sure they got headache on earth. One thing they have is literally everything coming in, they can control. Everything going out, they can control. Um, Very welcome, Alpine. 10 USC section 4-6. Also, section 311, exact same language, exact citation, everything. But it's a second law that says the exact same thing. I don't know why there's, my best guess is one was on the House, the one was getting passed on the Senate side. And when they moved it over, both houses just voted in favor of the law they thought they'd already voted in favor of. I don't know. Unfortunately, that also happened well before I was born. 20 something, I believe. All right, I got to do this, guys. Spidercock, who are you? I got to know. No, you're not going to get kicked out for that. I gotta know. Next question. Come on, guys. Foss. Should militia members carry the same type of rifle, i.e., 5.56 or whatever you got? Yes, and 5.56, 6.8 Grendel, 7.6251. I know I don't know that answer yet. Whatever is the military U.S. right now, it would be 5.56. And I mean 5.56. I don't mean 223. 5.56. If you've seen some of my older videos where I talk about next gen um, military rifles or military weapons, there's one on rifle. I come out and say I don't know what the next one is going to be. 5.6 is the end of it. They're going to move on to something else sooner or later. And I've got a few guesses. Um, that would be what it is. And that's for the interoperability. I am paying attention. Phone is working the same. I was just checking my phone to make sure it was still transmitting, first of all. Is that lost signal me out a little bit. I know what my lag looks like. So I'm sorry if I'm having time getting to you. Internet. DM Foss asked, would it be specific type or bring what you got? Um, 6, like Stanek 412 and 79 draft prop. Hates that. Um, what the standard is. 17 4172 is what everybody knows of as the 5.56. 49 is M16, AR-15, etc. magazine. Doesn't actually say the whole thing. It just says what it needs to do to be able to fit into this magazine well and with this magazine catch. All right. I'm going to say this the way I understand it. There's a debate whether the FAMAS is non-compatible or not. Never even seen FAMAS. I've seen videos of them. Some people say they will and some people say they will not. And if it does and get it to work, it meets the standard. Says, I'm just a little choppy. I'm lucky I'm just a little choppy. I started this at 1300 ish and it 14. I'm not ready to call it a day yet, but I don't also want to drag you guys out for an hour and hours and hours. So unless somebody says something, I'm going to wrap this up in 3 minutes. Also, apparently YouTube needed to inform me that I was live through my email. No, I didn't know that. For those of you that know her personally or of her, because I know there's a couple names in here that have been through here that know her personally, say a prayer for Fix Bayonet because one of those California wildfires is about 30 from her. That's got to suck. Especially being gone now. Well, sorry, don't have questions, and I'm late. I don't care. I was late too. Thanks. I will see you again. I hope I see you again. Yeah. Since I brought the subject up, and some of you have heard this story before, and he has. The way I went from ambivalent gun control issue to actually becoming the mandatory carry faggot is back in 2005 when I was at A school. Brent calls me up, and we had served one of my prior units. And he calls me up and says, "Hey, bro, I'm in town. Meet, get drunk." Okay. Right. I didn't think it. I was just like, okay, cool. Let's go. We get a hotel room, and he says, "So you still got that 9mm?" Well, yeah. So he tears it down and he puts it onto what I now know is called a pentagram. He put the lower receiver down on it, copies it. I'm sitting there thinking, this is Brent had been a gun control opponent long time at this point. Like, I know what this is about. I'm gonna watch Discovery Channel. Lean back and I'm snickering. And so later, he's finally done. He says, starts putting parts from my gun onto his. Okay, let's go. Go where? Thank you, Alpine. Okay. Well, we went out to this hill. Apparently, the enactors use it for their part of their drill. And we bust up a lot of, okay, just a lot of. We're all done, and I shot it too, so I guess I get to clean it. He says, "So you still support gun control?" Yeah, kind of whatever. But you didn't make the most important part, the barrel. And we'd had this discussion before. You have to be able to make barrels because that's the pressure bearing unit. That's also, since I started this channel, I found out that it's registered in Europe. US, it's the lower receiver, but in Europe, it's the barrel for that reason. So, okay. He gives me this look and he says, huh? Starts breaking it down. He hands me the barrel to my own gun. And I look at it and I realize this is a whole barrel. And there's still from where he on the lathe or whatever it was he used. And he told me later on he deliberately left those scratch marks on just so that I would see them. I spent a week totally butthurt with him. It actually took me a month to finally calm down enough to speak to him again. That was the moment when everything, he had proven to me physically that there is no gun control law that will ever actually work, which makes it really ironic. About 2 years ago, sometime in 20, calls me up and he's, oh my god, oh my god, it's just, dude, what? I really was just, dude, what? Well, it turned that barrel I made, did it wrong. Okay, what was wrong? I made it out of too hard a metal. Oh, okay, I'm okay with that. I was. He made a barrel that was too strong. In that moment, I just like, what, don't worry about it. Nobody got killed, nobody got arrested. Let's move on. Since then, and since about August when he reminded me of it, um, I found it might actually have been a problem. Barrel was too hard a metal. It might have torn up the bullets to the point where the gun malfunctioned, whatever. It didn't. Nobody died. I'm over it. Oh, and that really the moment when the seed that became mandatory carry was born. It was watered pretty thoroughly by Barack's 20 stunt. It was sometime during that debate first said, we have two choices. Either we ban all the guns, here I am knowing that that's the work, or we make it mandatory and everybody has to. Now, I admit I hadn't fully thought it through at that point, but I understood that we were going to have to make it mandatory that everybody does. Obviously, you can see which way it went. Oh, in case I have any gun control supporters in there, hey, Jim, we're going to wrap it up here in about 30 minutes, but please stay. You just missed the Brent story. I know you've heard that one before. Um, In case I have gun control supporters in here, first of all, I used to be one of you. All right, so don't shit me. Seriously, go ahead. What happened eventually? You say, well, we're just going to ban all of the automatics, or all of the machine guns, or all of the bump stocks, which, by the way, I don't believe should be banned. Excuse me. One of the few things me and Tim agree on extremism is, yeah, banning bump stocks is a bad idea. Oh, then you say we're just banning all of the assault weapons and define it as semi-automatic detachable mag and to feature. I didn't buy that in 91. All right. Then you're going to make it feature, and then you're going to say detachable mag, and then you're going to say semi-auto. And it's not going to actually solve the problem. People are going to still be out there, people with it. First of all, you banned, and they still got. Well, we don't have. Can't even write it out. No more bans, Jim. Yeah, no more bans. All right. What is banned now? Kindness. Everything to 89. That's me. All right. So yes, the bump stocks would be coming back, and that's actually Yaroslav. It says you cannot ban those. Yes, the crazy ass trigger, especially the I don't even remember what it's called. I would never want one. I would never need one. I would never be able to one. But that would capacity bands. First day, those are actually bans on are not legal under Dataslav anymore. I mean, literally, the only things that would be banned after data passes is what was banned in 89. And that's it. I'm not as extreme as my partner. Um, she thinks you should be required to have an AR-15 and 47, a 9mm, and a 45. I always forget about the 45 and a 12 gauge. I just think you have to have something. DM Foss, I've never been a gun control supporter, but I was apathetic towards gun control. I would say, oh, well, that sucked. I-1639 woke me up. Yeah, I-69 was a big wake-up call, even to me. And the channel, the YouTube channel, already existed when I-1639. The other two channels, no, the one channel that I don't discuss on YouTube, or Society, that one already existed. The page existed. The data last major review was done when I-16 came down. So yeah, and 1639 was still a huge wake up. Someplace I thought would never do something like that did it. Why? I don't know. What were they thinking? And the beauty of it is that with the ban in place, some people came up with grounds to the ban. Correction, they didn't come up with workarounds. They came up with a version of the AR-15 specifically met state law. It's a semi-automatic bolt-action rifle. been profiled on the fascist book page. C. Kyle Mine. That's for the bots. Zuckerberg. A state that I don't even. And oh yeah, by the way, now the Chaz proved how well I-39 worked, didn't it? I'm just saying. Onto the scary black gun and all. And here's a newsflash. I actually went up and saw the Chaz a couple days after. The point is still a disorganized clusterfuck and nobody knows what they're doing. Right? There were barricades in the form of tape up around Chaz. It basically just said you the Chaz and this is not. There was a guy at what appeared to be the border checkpoint with what appeared to me to be an AK-47. Now, I didn't get close enough to this guy to really look. It might have been an airsoft, an illegally modified soft. I don't think it was. I really think AK-47. And he was just standing there. He was staring me down at one point. I was like, I know. I think maybe he knew something special or different about me. Got another special but different story for a couple seconds. At 20 minutes now, unless somebody says something spectacular for me to respond to. And in the meantime, I've told this story a few times. I was at an event in California desert, not Burn, but kind of similar territory. Okay, so I'm at, and there's around, right, and there's a lot of airsoft and plastic and toy guns of every sort around. So if you know the event, you know the one. 2016 specifically. Around, I had my bag, and in my messenger bag, I had my actual gun. I got it through the border checkpoint. Barely even looked. Not only that, but I'm walking around with it like 3 days, I think it is. And this cop, God, he was like 8 feet maybe from me. His shoulder, so I can kind of see his eyes a little bit. And he looked at me and I'm not sure why, but I think I know. I really think that my name unknown to law enforcement. I know my name is not unknown to law enforcement. I'm on two watch lists that I know of. One for suicidal vets and the other for dangerous shit posters. Um, he saw my face, recognized my face from various, oh yeah, and here's another dangerous shit poster. Just be aware it exists. That's what he was reacting to. I know who you are. I know it, and I'm cool. Okay, says I don't own any AR-15s or Glocks. Okay, I'm a mini. That meets the standard. 1911. Okay, that might meet the standard too. 30 M1. You mean M? 870 Sega, 12 gauge. Um, if 12 gauge was the standard, those Segas would meet it. That Mini 14 does meet it, and your net, if it's chambered for enforcement, meets it. Of course, well, no, that's not any of them meet with. for militia duty, your 1911 might, your Mini 14 does, and keep that 12 gauge. Considered getting one myself, but then something else came along that was theoretically better. It they're still not selling it. It started back in 2014 talking about it, so I don't know. SMG Ruger American 9mm is badass pistol built like a tank, all stainless. Okay. I was talking about the one gun shooter. Oh, more important than your conclusion is your process. And so that might, if you ever get called out on one gun, that might have to be your answer. Um, okay, come on, guys, hit me with at least one more question. Come on, give me one more question. A toughie. While I wait for the next question, conditional conditional exemption is whenever you have a situation that will resolve on its own in the normal course of life in a short period of time, and during that situation you really can't carry for whatever reason. And there's two: nature of work. Now that I always think of, first one is lineman for the electrical company. Bullets and electricity, right? Even I say, electrical lineman wants to leave his gun in his truck, more power to you. What if he says, I don't trust it being in my truck because somebody will steal my truck, or break into my truck looking for it? Okay, that's fine. Grace of God, go and leave it in your locker at work, in your car at work, whatever. And the next one I always think of is sewage workers. Yeah, you're crawling around in those tight spaces. You've already got a lot of gear you have to carry, anyways. And now you got this other thing that isn't going to help you. And if you use it, you might, grace of God, go leave the office. No problem. Too drunk to drive, too drunk to carry. Grace of God, go. You have not even sinned. Okay, DM Foss, will the Supreme Court, which ones is the one I don't know the answer to? Oh no, I might be losing signal. Which ones is the ones I don't know the answer to? But I'm 100% sure that if California's um, the Supreme Court, it's getting heard. I, I really think that they're just the Chief Justice. I forgot his name. Anyway, he's hoping that RGB Ginsburg passes away while Donnie's still in office, so Donnie can recommend somebody who's a little bit more uh, conservative. To be honest with you, and that will basically stack the court for the next 50 years. I'm kind of ambivalent about that part because I'm a minarchist. Really do want a centrist Supreme Court. All things considered, just be a little bit more right of center. Be a lot more comfortable with the right of center. Anyway, Jim G, I love her burger on Gunbroker. Oh, Burgers and the Browning High Power. Okay, Browning High Power is not the one that I've heard people making fun of. And if I'm right, those of you making fun of Browning High Power might want to tone it down a little bit. There's a lot worse out there. Jennings doesn't even exist anymore because they were such crap that nobody would carry them. I one for a while because it was a 9mm. Shit. Basically, they're $300 paperweights. Whatever. 9mm is a tech driver. I can get some good headshots with it. Yeah, nines are pretty good for that. Jim G asks, "Where are you, Gary?" I'm within an hour of the California border, but close enough to Las Vegas. That's where I work. Oh, and Nevada, by the way. I'm on enemy line side Virginia. And dude, I'm thinking about Virginia as a relocation point after I evacuate Oregon. Strange world. Up on gun. I'm in Wyoming. We love our guns. Y'all do. Tim G. High power Browning was military gun long time. Countries don't know. Then I must be thinking of something else. Oh, high point. I'm thinking of High Point Browning. Wow, I owe the world 100 push-ups for thinking that Browning was getting picked on. I'm thinking High Point. It was used in a parody video about making out of guns. Jim, you're moving to West Virginia. I want to move to Louisiana. I really know exactly the place I want to move to if it ever gets built. I've been promised and paid into getting a permanent play at a project in Louisiana. The permanent employee spot also comes with somebody who was homeless. DM Foss. Is Israelis like the high powered? Okay. Yeah. Well, everybody. I'll do those push-ups. I swear. Jim G. I got a cheap high point is indestructible and guaranteed forever. You can't do better than that. $250. Those of you making fun of High Point, there's worse. All right. My dad's Jennings. I had a range day myself when I was in high school because I was in the law enforcement program. I took dad's gun. I took it with the school's permission, by the way. Oh, I lock it up in safe until it came time to go to class, go to the range. Anyway, I fired it once, it jammed. Okay, that happens. Fired it twice, jammed. Okay, that happened. I fired it third time, it jammed the third time. The instructor said, "You are disqualified." Jim G. I lost a spring and they sent me two for free. Oh, well, it's Browning. I guess I'm not as surprised as I was to begin with. That they sent them for free, though. That's impressive. Um, for those of you also ragging on Taurus, my first handgun was actually, excuse me, Smith and Wesson, not Taurus. Those of you ragging on Smith and Wesson and related, mine was actually a 40 Smith and Wesson 406. we picked that because that was what the California Highway Patrol had started at the time. They had just adopted it. It was the hot new thing. It was 40 cal back at the time. Like 10 millimeter was still the big thing, but 40 cal had just come in and it was now the thing. And that's how I got on the 40 cal train. Before that, I didn't even know there was a difference. Bullet is a bullet. Correction, I didn't realize there was differences in capabilities between bullets. 9 miller, 40 cal, 57. The only one I knew anything about was the 44 because it is the most powerful pistol in the world. And are you feeling lucky, punk? Jim G. Heavy, ugly brick, but it will not fail. Okay. Love my Taurus 6.5 357. I know Tauruses get bad, bad beating. They didn't always used to be that way. And I know I don't know enough to know what I don't know about this issue, but Taurus taken a big hit in the industry the last couple of years. I'm really, really hoping that they wake up and say, "Oh, no problem. We need to fix it." Because I'd hate to see them go the way of Jennings. They were great guns. My dad owned one. My landlord still does. They were great, and it's that really oddity. It was actually Taurus is a Brazilian company, American, not European. It's a Brazilian company. They were producing great guns. And then a couple of years ago, they let their quality control slide. I really do hope they bounce back. Jim G says, my favorite of all is the Thompson 45. Dude, you do you want to carry the heaviest thing on earth? Do the on earth? Oh, I'm sorry. You did say earlier that you have M1, so 30. So I assumed that you meant M1 Grand. That's the heaviest thing on earth. The M1 Grand, demilitarized versions of those used to be the Cape May training rifle. You go onto YouTube now and you look at boot camp, and they've all got those nice little M4s. Fucking hate those guys now. I hate those recruits. I want to beat them just. I hate those heavy motherfuckers. Oh. All right, we're coming up on about 2 hours, so gonna let you guys start off. I think, unless anybody's really got a question. I'm gonna throw this out there. If I do this weekly, will people actually come? If I can get, say, 5, I'll start doing it weekly at a regular time. Gingy, I am not carrying it long. No, you're not. Oh, M1 being okay. Lighter than those Garans. It sucks. Asking cooks and clerks and shopkeepers to carry an M1 carbine because Am I back? I think I'm back. Somebody tell me if I'm back or not. All right, I think I'm back. All right. Well, 2 disconnects, probably a sign I should start wrapping this up. I like everybody who's still here to give me a Y or a middle finger or something so I know you're still around. And I've been I've been thinking about this a lot. Doing this once a week. Exactly which day I don't know. Um, I was going to do them on Tuesdays because Tuesday morning I do this thing with some vets, and then coronavirus hit, and so I just tried this once on a Tuesday just to see if it would work out at all. Thank you, Dion. That's exactly what I wanted. Um, where was I? I coronavirus hit, and the vet thing had to be canceled and it's still canceled, and that's what sucks. Um, so I thought, oh, I'll try this just to see if it works out at all. Really, the first one was just to see if I understood the equipment, which apparently I still don't. Um, and now I'm thinking about maybe doing it every week when I come back from the vets thing, which would put it probably Tuesday afternoons. And from the signs of it, there's a few of you still in here. So, what do you guys think? Should I do this once a week? And it's just going to be simple Q and A's. You ask anything except my kids' names. You can even ask me what states my ex-wives live in. Texas and Arizona. No need to ask now. My first ex-wife, Arizona. I don't know where in the state. My second ex-wife, I'm not going to tell you because that's where my kids are. Um, Alpine Gulch. I know you said something, but I can't read that. Is that a heart symbol or comma? Anyway, let me know, guys. I'm curious. There's like 4 people I really would like to get in here. Um, 2 of them are directly the 2A community. Neither one of them I think you know of. The other 2 are not really connected to the 2A community directly. They're more of well, they're walkaways. That's the community they're coming from. No, dear boss, not all of my exes live in Texas. Just one of them. I hate country music. So no. The first one had to be in Arizona. That's it. Okay, well, I know OT's here, Boss is still here, Gulch is still here. It's a cold wind blowing. Okay. I'm gonna screenshot this. Now I'll mark out names because this is kind of interesting what's going on there. Maybe I'll make that the thumbnail. Uh, Open auditions for anybody who thinks they're an editor. I'm looking for one. I do it myself really would rather you show me how, but I got 4 basic jobs lined up. Okay, guys, it's after 7 after now, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Y'all stay out of trouble. Be careful. All right. Keep calm and mandatory carry on.